Hi everyone, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me today. And this is one of the stops on a hop to celebrate Wow's brand new release. And for my project today, I will be playing with the new Seth Apter Citrus Quad. So quads are a new thing for Wow Embossing. And I have to say, I love the two that they have released this month. So the Citrus Quad is made up of really bright citrusy colours. You've got olive, rusty, tomato and kiwi gold. They are really lovely reds, orange, yellows, greens, and they are full of chunky sparkles. Although when you heat emboss them, they dry with a really smooth, shiny finish. So I thought that I would make a clean and simple birthday card with some of these die cut balloons. I've used a small die from Altenew, I think it's called the Birthday Greetings die, and I've die cut a bunch of these balloon shapes. And what I'm doing is just pressing them into my Wow sticky ink, and then I'm covering them in each of the four colours from the quad. So this one here is the tomato colour, which is really lovely vibrant red colours with some lighter reds in there too, and some of that chunky sparkle in silver. So you can see all of that on the balloon shape there. So what I'm doing is I've just shaken my piece of paper so I can see where the balloons are, and I'm picking them up carefully on the edges so I don't knock any of that embossing powder off. And then I'm just going to tip the excess back into my jar because you only need a really small amount, and this jar will last you really a long time. So I've repeated the same process with each of the four colours. So again, there's the tomato is the red, the orange is called rusty, the yellow green is called olive, and that beautiful golden yellow colour is the kiwi gold. So I've just heat set them there on my waffle flour medium mat, and that's because it's got a little lip around the edges, so when I'm heat embossing, those balloons aren't going to fly off everywhere. And once all of that heat embossing is done, I'm just taking my balloons over to an A2 piece of card, and I'm just trying to arrange them in a nice way. This took a long time, I won't lie. I messed with the arrangement of these balloons for probably way longer than was proportionate. But anyway, there you go. I've got them in an arrangements that I like now. So I've grabbed my sentiment from MFT Stamps. I think it's called the Happy Birthday stamp. And I've brought my card panel over to my MISTI with the balloons on so I can see where I'd like that big happy sentiment to go. I'm just picking it up with the lid of my MISTI now, and then I'm moving the balloons out of the way. And one tip I'd give you is if you've got something like this where you're having to arrange elements on a card, once you're happy with it, take a photo with your phone, because later on when it comes to assembling it again, you're going to want to remember where everything was. So that's what I've done here. I just stamped the sentiment down a couple of times in Versamark black ink. I didn't manage to capture it on camera, but I've also got the scripty birthday word underneath there, again, which I just stamped it from the same set. And I'm rearranging the balloons again. I just couldn't decide how I wanted them. So I have finally got to a point now where I am sticking them down. And I'm using a mixture of liquid glue and foam tape. So the balloons that are in the background, I've just stuck flat to the piece of card with some liquid glue. And then the others I'm just popping up with a bit of foam tape for some dimension so they look like they're more in the foreground. So once I've finished popping all of those onto my panel, I need to draw some strings for my balloons. So I've got my fine liner pen. This one's made by Micron, and it's a 0.8mm thickness. This line of pens does come in lots of different thicknesses actually, and I do really enjoy using these. So if you're looking for a fine liner, I definitely recommend. If you want something even smaller, I've got a 0.4mm one as well, which does some really nice fine lines. So I'm just drawing the strings down from the balloon all the way to the bottom of the page, and where I meet the sentiment, I am breaking it off, and then as if the balloons are going down the back of that sentiment. So having finished that, I have grabbed my Tim Holtz big scissors and I am trimming away the balloons that are hanging over the edge of the card panel there, so everything is nice and flush. And then I still wasn't quite happy with how it looked, probably because I'd used an even number of balloons instead of an odd number. So if you listen to some of the graphic design greats like Kathy Zilski, she'll explain to you how having an odd number of elements on your page is quite visually appealing to the eye. So I decided to go off and just make an extra balloon to pop in, and I've just slotted that in the front there. So having drawn the balloon string for that one, I decided that the word birthdays actually got a little bit lost here. It's not quite as prominent as I'd like. So I've gone back with my fine liner pen, exactly the same one that I used before, and I've just traced over that word birthday just so it's a bit more noticeable. So that finishes up my card for today. A lovely, clean and simple birthday card to add to my stash, which is always helpful. Do check out the rest of the hop going on YouTube today. The full list is below, and there is a chance to win a prize. So make sure you follow along and leave everybody a comment. Don't forget to like this video, and please do subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more inspiration.